What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Leprechaun Back to the Hood. So I've seen this movie before and I never really liked it. The last time I watched it I did not like it, but after revisiting it I actually had a decent time with it, and overall, yeah, I would say that it's alright. It's definitely, it's not a bad one by any means. So there you go. And jumping into a plot summary. The movie focuses around this group of young people, and they're living in the hood. They're not doing well financially, they're struggling, and they find this chest that's filled with gold, and it's the answer to all their problems. It's like $1,000,000 worth of gold. They split it 4 ways, and they think all is well, but then they realize that this chest full of gold has a catch. It belongs to this ancient evil leprechaun who we know, the Leprechaun, Warwick Davis. And, for the rest of the movie, the Leprechaun is trying to get his chest of gold, and he's pursuing this group of young people, and he's killing anyone who comes in his way. So, there you go. First things first, I gotta talk about Paige Kennedy. So, like that, okay, this movie is like notable for two main reasons for me. This is the last Warwick Davis one, and it stars Paige Kennedy. So I don't know if all of you are familiar with Paige Kennedy, but he's kind of been in the acting game for quite a while. He's been in like countless movies. Like if you look at his IMDb, or if you just like Google him, he's been in a ton of stuff. But what I know Paige Kennedy from is Blue Mountain State, it's a TV show. It was initially on Spike. I believe it came out around 2013. I could be wrong, but I watched it. I think I watched it on Crackle back in the day, like the free streaming service Crackle. Like when I was in high school, I think I watched it around like maybe 2015. I got into it, and I was like watching it on Crackle, and like all my buddies, we would all watch it, and it's this like football show. And yeah, Paige Kennedy, he played this character named Radon. He was like a quarterback. He was like the starting quarterback, because basically like one of the main characters in that show is the second string quarterback. So they bring in this this first string quarterback Radon, and he like initially doesn't get along with everyone, but like he was so funny in that show. I think he was on I think he was in the second season. Yeah, but he was only in one season. I'm pretty sure he was not in the first season. He was in the second season, but then he was not in the third season either. But yeah, anyways, I love Blue Mountain State, and I thought Paige Kennedy was like fantastic as Radon. He was like one of the best characters in the show. So yeah, I always remember him from that. And I saw that before I saw this. Like I didn't even see Leprechaun Back to the Hood until probably like 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. I don't know, something like that. But yeah, so I love Paige Kennedy. He was also big on Vine too. Like I don't know if people remember Vine, but Vine was kind of big when I was in high school too. And Paige Kennedy, he was like a pretty big Viner. He was actually hilarious as a Viner. So yeah, I remember him from that as well. But he absolutely killed it in this movie. He was like this like stoner character. He was kind of the comic relief, and he was just so animated, so funny. He had screen presence, charisma. He was kind of like magnetic. Like he was just like, whenever he would say something that was funny, like I was engaged. So I liked seeing Paige Kennedy, and he was one of the best parts of the movie. And then, like I said, this is the last Warwick Davis one, and once again, Warwick Davis, he came through and he killed it. In all the Leprechaun movies he's in, even if I don't like the overall movie, or I just think the overall movie is okay, he always, like, his performance is always great. He always takes it so seriously. And I mean, the man is hilarious. Like when it comes to the comedic dialogue, like he absolutely kills it. His delivery is great. Like the whole voice of the Leprechaun, his physicality, it's all good. So yeah, Warwick Davis once again kills it. Like he never phones it in. He could just be like, yeah, I'm doing this shitty 6 Leprechaun movie. It's straight to video. Like fuck it. Like I'm just gonna go in there, phone it in. Like deliver my lines flat as hell. Like, he comes through and he kills it. He takes it so serious, and I love it because he makes the movies. Like, if it weren't for Warwick Davis, like, who would care about these movies? Like, I mean, I remember the one that came out after, like, maybe it wasn't directly after, but one of the newer ones, Leprechaun Returns. I remember I thought that one was okay. I haven't rewatched that in like quite a while, but I thought that one was okay. But it's still not the same as like the OG Warwick Davis one. So yeah, gotta pay homage to Warwick Davis. And now I would just like to go over some like standout scenes and some funny scenes, because the reason that I thought this movie was decent and I had like a somewhat enjoyable time with it was mainly because of the comedy. Like in these, like with these movies, it's a silly premise. It's a killer leprechaun, and then on top of that, it's like a leprechaun in the hood. Like, it's just a random, silly, outlandish concept. So like the comedy has to be good for me to like it personally. So there's this whole sequence where the leprechaun is smoking a bong with this guy early on. He gets way too high, and then a little bit after that, he's like raiding Jamie's fridge, who Jamie is Paige Kennedy's character. So he's like raiding the fridge. He gets munchies, and he just like doesn't like any of the food, so he's spitting it out. And in that sequence, there's like the best kill. So there's the one guy that he's smoking with. He like impales him in the chest with a bong, and the bong fills up with his blood. That was my favorite kill in the movie. Like, I didn't like. I'll get into kills later, so I don't want to get ahead of myself. But yeah, that whole sequence of him smoking and getting the munchies, that was hilarious. A little bit later on, he kills this girl who, like, she turned one of his gold coins into a gold tooth, and then he kills her and he's rocking the gold tooth. I thought that was like a fun little gag because, he's like a leprechaun, he's obsessed with gold, and it was just kind of funny. He like put the gold tooth in. He's kind of getting a little drippy with it, so that was cool. There's this whole instance where the leprechaun is fighting all these police officers. That was pretty cool. That was actually like a good little action sequence. It was pretty well done. And then after, he's trying to like drive away in the cop car, but he's too short, and that was pretty funny. And then what he does is, like, when he's fighting the cops, he just rips this cop's leg off. And then he uses the cop's leg to drive the car, and like he like gets out, and everyone sees him like pull his leg out. They're like, "Yo, that's nasty! Like, what the heck?" So yeah, I liked all that. Basically, the leprechaun, he killed this one guy who was like this lead, like he was like the head of this gang, and like the guy was like, right when the leprechaun pulls up, the guy's like talking on the phone with his girlfriend, and the leprechaun's just sitting there waiting, like, dude, like, I'm coming through like to fight you and potentially kill you, and you're just gonna like talk on the phone with your girl. Like, I'm waiting. Like, he's just like, it's like he's like checking his watch. I mean, he's not actually checking his watch, but it's like that type of vibe where he's like, what the heck. But anyways, like, after he kills that lead gangster guy, he picks up the phone and he's talking to his girlfriend, and she's like, the leprechaun is like rizzing up this guy's girl, and he's actually like low key, like, he's kind of smooth with it, and she's kind of feeling him, and basically it gets like they're talking, and the question gets to like height, and she's like, how tall are you? And he's like 3'6", and she's like, oh heck no, what, like 3'6"? But he's like, I make up for it in other areas. I mean, that's good stuff. That's classic. So yeah, that was good. And then another standout funny moment is the group of leads, like the group of young people, they go to this psychic to seek for answers how they can kill the leprechaun, and there's this like guy meeting with the psychic, and they just kick him out, and he's like, what about my dead wife? Like, he's like talking to the psychic about his dead wife. He's like, how am I gonna get to the bottom of this? Like, what about my dead wife? I gotta figure this out. And they just like kick him out. So that was pretty good. Yeah, so all that. Actually, another funny thing that I gotta mention too is, like, towards the end of the movie, like around the third act, Paige Kennedy's character Jamie is confronting the leprechaun, and he's just like, yeah, like I'm paraphrasing, so I'm probably getting this wrong a little bit, but he's like, yeah, I stole your gold and I spent it all. I bought clothes, I bought jewelry, I bought I bought weed, and he's like, that shit was good as a motherfucker. Like, I like that, like how he was just like totally like owning it. Like, yeah, I stole all your gold, and guess what? I spent it all. I bought some good ass weed with it, and like, I don't know, that was great. And like I said, Paige Kennedy, he just killed it. That's confusing that his character is named Jamie, and there's a Jamie Kennedy, and he's Paige Kennedy. Like, I might have like flip flopped and called him Jamie Kennedy during the video because of that. So that's difficult. That's you can't fault me for that. But anyways, let me move on. So I talked about all the standout funny moments. There were some others, but I talked about most of the standout funny moments. Here's the stuff that I disliked. So the kills in this were really not good. Besides the bong kill, really none of the kills were good. They were all cutaways. You would see like the aftermath, but it wasn't even really the aftermath. Like the one woman got her tooth ripped, and then you just see like the leprechaun is holding like a bloody jaw after, like, I don't know. I thought the kills were pretty lame, and there were some instances with like good effects. Like there's this one instance where the leprechaun is in the salon, and this character Emily like basically like pokes his eye, and you see like his eyeball come out, and there's all this like green blood. Like the effects on that are good, so they had good effects for some stuff. Like I don't know why we couldn't have seen the kills. Maybe it was like a budgetary thing. I don't know, but yeah. Besides the bong kill, pretty much all the kills were lame in my opinion, and kind of a disappointment. And with these movies, it's like a killer leprechaun movie. I want the comedy to be on point, and I want like creative, fun, gory kills. So yeah, I felt pretty disappointed with the kills. Another thing that I disliked is I feel like the characters in the last one were like a lot better. They're more memorable. I feel like we got to know them more. I really liked Paige Kennedy's character, Jamie, in this. He was absolutely hilarious, and I feel like I actually got to know him a little bit. But like the other characters, like Emily and Rory, that like I don't know, they didn't really do it for me. Like they were okay characters, but I just really felt like I didn't get to know them. Lisa, she was decent. She had like a little bit of personality, but I mean she got killed pretty early on, so I mean, yeah, I wasn't gonna get to know her well regardless. But yeah, like Emily and Rory, they're like really the leads, and I feel like they were not very memorable. Like they were just, it seemed like they were like quiet and like brooding all the time, and they were so serious, which I understand, but like I don't know, I wish there were like more moments where I got to like really connect with them and get to know them. Yeah, so yeah, the characters were a step down in this from the last movie. The third act felt like it went on for forever. Like the leprechaun, oh, did they kill the leprechaun? Oh, nope, the leprechaun's back. The leprechaun's back again, back again, back again. Like that whole third act, I'm like, okay, like when is the movie gonna end? When is it, like nothing interesting is happening right now? Like let's cut it off. Like this movie doesn't need to like go on forever. Like I get it, but yeah, the third act dragged for me. And then the last thing is like I feel like this movie, like all these movies look pretty cheap. Like you gotta know going in it's like a Leprechaun movie. Like, you know, most of these are direct to video, you know, the budgets are super low, but like this one looked even cheaper than a lot of the other ones. I feel like the lighting was really bad. Like during all like the night scenes, like the lighting was just they seemed like really, like all the night scenes seemed like really dark, and even like the color grading during the daytime was kind of weird. And yeah, the movie overall had like a really cheap look, even cheaper than a lot of the other entries in the franchise, which makes sense if it's like the last one. You know, the ones preceding it probably were, you know, steadily, you know, making less and less money. So then this one probably, you know, didn't have as much of a budget because, you know, they had less of a profit from the other ones to flip into a budget for this. So it makes sense, but yeah, I felt like the look of this was a lot cheaper, and I feel like the lighting during the night scenes was not the best. So there you go, that's my dislikes. But yeah, overall, I thought this was a decent entry. I didn't like it in the past, but yeah, after rewatching it, it was definitely, not a terrible entry. You got, Paige Kennedy killed it. I loved his character. Warwick Davis killed it. And yes, all those comedic scenes I mentioned were great, and there were other comedic scenes that were great. So yeah, this was a decent movie. So in terms of a recommendation, would I recommend Leprechaun Back to the Hood? Yeah, if you're a fan of the series and you're looking for just a fun, schlocky B movie to watch around St. Patrick's Day, I would say, don't have high expectations at all, but if you want to just something that you can just kind of veg out to, something kind of fun, kind of silly, like I said, like a schlocky B movie with some decent comedy in there, I would check out Leprechaun Back to the Hood. So yeah, I guess I would recommend it. But anyways, that has been my my recommendation, and that has been my review. Thank you all very much for watching, and peace out.